Hello everyone and welcome back to the World Championships 2017. We're here for the third and fourth playoff. My name is Matthew Bell and I'm joined here by Michael Cohenum as we bring you coverage for this next match.
Yes, we have two Italian duelists dueling for third place. Either way, Italy will take third and fourth place in this tournament. Nevertheless, Marcello, Barberi, and Forner, is Michael Forner?
Yes, Michael Forner.
Michael Forner would prefer third place.
Yeah, well, there's still that to play for. I mean, for these guys, I imagine they might feel a little bit hurt right now that the tournament's been ended and there are no European players left in the main event at this point. Yep. The final will be played by Ryosuke Sugimura and Shenfei Milton a little later today. It's actually what we were looking at that's really interesting. For the three different tournaments, each different region has kind of dominated that region. So we've got Asia for the TCG or main event. I suppose I could just say OCG in that situation. For the Dragon Duel, you've got the Americas continent with Rafael Marino Recht. Sorry, I can't say the German part. Versus Ryan Yu for that final. And Sweden, we got Tut Pup versus Timmy from Sweden and New Zealand, respectively, in Duel Links. Yep. So super interesting stuff. This match, if you guys haven't caught any of the previous matches from either of these two players, is a Windwitch Invoked versus a True Draco, the Card of Demise True Draco build.
Yes, Barberi is using the True Draco deck that we saw in the previous round in the top four, whereas Forner is using the Windwitch deck. And while both of these duelists, I'm sure we're hoping to play against each other in the finals, I'm sure they'll be giving it their all to take third place in this tournament.
Yeah, there's still the bragging rights to play for on the plane ride home.
Yes.
I think the guys are actually on the same flight as well. So
it's a ranking that will stay with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to getting over to the table. Trying to think if there's anything else we can say about these matches, because I believe we saw Michael Forner play yesterday versus the True Draco deck, and it all came down to whether or not he could secure the early Crystal Wing that had the immunities, so his opponent couldn't actually deal with the Crystal Wing, and he just pretty much rode that to victory.
That's likely to happen again, because it doesn't look like there are too many answers in Barberi's deck.
So this might actually become a game of side decks, depending on whether Michael Forner opens with this Crystal Wing. Because the Invoke deck seems to struggle with the actual True Draco side of the deck, but the Wind Witches, on the other hand, give you the support to actually handle that. Barberi, I believe in his side deck he had Kaijus and stuff, right? No, he didn't. He had
just a couple of Time
Vanity
Lords.
Fiends as well. Those would be pretty good against the Invoke deck. Yeah, it should be an interesting match. I think Michael Forner is technically favored to win game one, but
I'd agree. I think he has a better match here than he does against the Dinosaur deck, which has easy access to dog around the Kaiju, which can be used to tribute the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon.
Yeah, this is absolutely the match that Michael Forner would have wanted to play. Admittedly, he wanted to play that in the finals, but
certainly
there's still the playoff, and both these guys are going to go home with the second through fourth place prize card.
But I'm sure they both wanted the championship title.
Yeah, well, they just have to come again next year. Marcello technically qualified twice for this event this year, so why not?
He made it on points and also for topping the Continental.
Winning the WCQ.
He
just did both in 1 year, why not? We even had time to do some other commentary as well for some of our events. But an absolute spectacular run for both of these duelists in this tournament. Third and fourth place is still pretty huge in this tournament. Everyone, there's some people that will discuss that the World Championship is such a small event, but at the end of the day, the quality of player, especially at this year's World Championship, have been phenomenal. You had Billy Brake, Joshua Smith, Shinsuke Hiyama, the former world champion. There's been a lot of really strong players, and to climb this high up on them at this point is a great achievement.
Yeah, you have the best players in the world here.
No, as the title would imply, or you'd hope so.
As
right?
you might guess from the 2017 Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship.
They should just say it all on the logo, really.
The best players in the world.
Yeah, I guess we'll just we'll wait for these guys to start. We hope you guys are enjoying the World Celebration events as well back home that are taking place over this weekend.
This is the first year that's happening, so that's a very cool event.
Yeah, to give you guys a little bit of a background of how we, why we switched to this sort of system is we had this super interesting thing where you'd run the World Championships in one region and only one region would really benefit from it. And what would happen is all the players they'd come to your event, which would be great, and then the stores were kind of sad because all their players went. And so there was no Yu-Gi-Oh! In those stores over the weekend. It's like the biggest weekend for Yu-Gi-Oh! And we actually wanted to make it so more duelists had access to the World Championship celebration stuff that we do at the events. And so we wanted to move that more to your local store so you could go there, turn on the live stream, have some games, get a chance to win some of the stuff you would have won at the World Championships. And we could get it out to everybody, everywhere this time. Yeah. But that's all I'm going to say about that. You guys can probably net deck some of these decks for your events later. But if you want to see how they're played, let's get started. Both players scout their opening hands to consider their initial play. Michael to start.
Forner starts out with Alistair the Invoker.
That's going to let him search his deck for an invocation and get the engine started. The thing I really like about this invocation is just a way that you keep this constant stream of pressure, because you can just, after you resolve the invocation, banish the Alistair, you can return the invocation and get the Alistair back to your hand. And you can just keep doing this cycling of different fusion monsters. Okay, he gets rid of, I think that was...
That's Ice Bell.
Ice Bell.
Not Ice Bell, sorry, that's Snow Bell. The one of.
Okay, so we're not going to be seeing the Crystal Wing this game.
That's exactly what that means. So he is now solely reliant on the invoked portion of his deck. He must not have opened with Wind Witch Ice Bell. If he had, we might have seen the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon here instead. Instead, he's going to have to lean on the invoked Ragin.
That'd be interesting. I imagine Marcello is pretty happy to see that. In fact, these two duelists played in Swiss yesterday, I believe, in the final round, and their match actually ended in a draw. So we'll see if the last game's experience has helped either of these duelists come up with a game plan to get through. So that's invoked Raijin with the effect to be able to flip monsters down as a quick effect into face-down defense position. Very disruptive card and pretty big on the defense as well. Marcello goes for his Pot of Desires.
Banishes the top 10 cards of his deck. And let's see if Forner has the...
Yep.
He does! Ash Blossoming Joyous Spring negates Pot of Desires. We're seeing that a lot on Barberi's side. We saw it in the last feature match as well.
Oh, really?
In the previous round, he banished 10 cards and then lost out to Ash Blossom.
I didn't actually get to catch the last feature match because I was in the pits basically reporting all the results so you guys could see what was going on for the rest of the tournament. So
don't worry, you get to see it here.
I've missed apparently so many amazing matches this weekend as a result, including a Balance of Judgment for 7 cards.
That's probably my favorite.
As one of those players that really appreciates Chain Burn, I know everyone hates it. I'm quite sad I missed that feature.
Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix on Barberi's field. He sets 3 back rows and then passes without much going on. Forner activates Magical Meltdown. He wants to search for Alistair. Let's see if Barberi lets him. He does.
I'm trying to think of what Marcello could have set, but he's got quite a few different live back row cards that he could have been going with. So it's a little bit difficult to tell.
Yeah, I mean, they could be True King or True Draco trap cards.
Yeah, if they're True Draco trap cards, then he has a lot of live plays available to him this turn, providing he has one tribute monster.
That's the key. He needs the monster.
But he's set for play Pot Desires.
Ragin switches into attack position and attacks directly along with Alistair.
Oh, these attacks are going to connect. Okay, that
looks like it.
Marcello probably didn't open spectacularly then.
It looks pretty weak for him. I mean, he played Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix and did nothing with it. So, if that's any indication of how strong his hand is, this is a bit of a struggle for him.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Raijin causes a few problems because if you'd used a trap card, use its effect to tribute summon Dynamite Knight, the Raijin would have been able to flip down the Dynamite Knight, but then the trap card could then, if he would have attributed the trap card, he would have been able to destroy the Raijin. So, no, I think Marcello's hand is just...
He needs the monster is the key. I mean, Dynamite Knight also would have activated if he tried to put it face down.
Yeah, so he would have then been able to go places with that. Okay, yeah, he's going to start lowering his opponent's monster's attack to take out the Magical Meltdown. That really implies that Marcello's hand is Ah, yeah, he's doing everything he can to dig here. He needs to get some. He needs to get some gas.
It's pretty desperate. Drew Draco Heritage. He draws one more card. He needs a monster. He can turn this around if he just picks up a monster.
Yeah, it's one of the weaknesses to the Card of the Demise variant. It only plays like how many monsters has he got there?
He has 8.
8 monsters. Okay, so just under a 1 in. What's that? 1 in 4.
1 in 5.
1 in 5.
It's a 40 card deck, I believe he's playing. It is exactly a 40 card deck.
Oh yeah. What? Yeah. So he's. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. Now he's finally.
He got a monster whose effect gets more monsters. So that's a pretty good one to pick up.
Yeah, that's a very good one. Way for him to start getting back into this game.
He's reminded he is not allowed to change the spell and trap card zone of his face down cards.
Not particularly relevant in this tournament, but it's as something that's going to be going forward. It's a definite no-no to start moving your cards around.
Yes. So True Draco Apocalypse's effect destroys the Rage-In, and then an attack from Majesty Maiden takes down Alistair.
Yeah, Michael still has that invocation that he picked up on turn 1. So Michael has, and he hasn't really been committing a whole bunch of cards to the field, just the direct attacks. So he's got some room here. Although the Majesty Maiden will be able to offer Marcello an additional option as soon as Michael tries to play anything. And here comes the invocation, and yeah, Marcello immediately taps the Maiden.
I think we'll see him get Masterpiece.
That seems likely.
Depending on his face down cards, he may prefer Dynamite.
Yeah, Dynamite could be pretty good for more digging here, or at least setting up the True King return after he's got a few True Dracos, and then he can start really dragging the match out. As we saw yesterday, this True Draco deck really able to put up really horrible tar pit for players to crawl through, and really makes it a war of attrition.
You can't see from here which monster he did add to his hand, but I suspect we will find out very shortly when he summons it.
See, this invocation is going to banish the Raijin and the Alistair to summon Raijin number 2. And invocation going back into the deck, Alistair coming back to the hand.
The Alistair and Invocation combo is a pretty interesting package.
Yeah, absolutely. As we said a little bit earlier, it just gives you such a great flow of monsters every turn to keep pressuring your opponent. And they're not small either. All of the invoked monsters are pretty impressive in their own regard. And
they have very diverse effects as well, so they're relevant in many situations.
Oh, we are going to see skill drain though, and that's going to be able to shut Michael off of that part of his engine. With Alistair getting negated, he's not going to be able to get his invocation search.
Forner could chain the effect of Rage-In.
He could. But he chose not to.
Yeah, he probably doesn't need to because he has a stronger monster already. Although he could chain it actually to Alistair to use his effect, can he?
Yeah, absolutely. He flips his Alistair down. He could have then took the search if he wanted it, but he's elected not to.
Does Rage-In lets you target your own monsters, right?
I'll quickly double check that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The attack on him is 22 or 24?
It is 2200 attack, 2400 defense.
All right, that's what I was remembering. Okay, yeah. So he didn't flip his own monster down because then he wouldn't have been able to attack over the Maiden because her attack is 2300. Oh, Cosmic Cyclone going to take out the True King return. Marcello was already... Okay, so we do know he had added another monster, and now he has a continuous spell, continuous trap, and a monster in his hand, so he's definitely got some plays to make.
Forner is no longer too concerned about the skill drain now that he has the dominating field.
That's likely to change very quickly, though, because we know Marcello added a monster, and that whichever monster he added would immediately be bigger than anything Michael has in play.
That's true. If Forner does have another Alistair in his hand, however, he can increase Rage-In's attack points by discarding it.
That's true.
I'm not sure what's in his hand, but that's a possibility, and that could.
Oh, he does have access to 2 Alistairs because he played the Magical Meltdown a little earlier, didn't he? And he had Alistair on turn 1 before the Meltdown, so he does have the second Alistair.
I think you're correct.
These are things that are probably easier to remember when you're actually playing.
Yeah.
And there we go. We're going to see Dynamite Knight.
So I guess that's the card he searched for. He tributes True King's Return. But it's also possible Masterpiece is just gone because he desired this game.
That's very true as well. And yeah, True Draco Heritage is going to add an additional card. And off the top, that's a very good card to add. The Pot of Desires. This card, whenever your deck can support it, is always extremely strong. It's just in recent years and formats, of course, with the game changing, so you need to depend on your special summons. Players can't really afford the drawbacks. I think Marcello just added Card of Demise to his hand as well, so he's going to just start nitro boosting his resources.
He attacks Alistair to destroy it. And if you're right, and that was in fact a Card of Demise, he's bound to play it. He draws 3 more cards from his deck since his hand is currently empty.
And he has access to an extra normal summon if he does draw another True Draco, and he's got 2 spell and trap zones available to set cards. Oh, Upstart Goblin.
Draconic Diagram.
Wow, it's all just coming straight out of the deck now. From the slow start Marcello had, I imagine he's actually pretty lucky that Michael wasn't able to really press out very hard in the opening stages of this game.
Yeah.
But that's generally seems to be the trend of a lot of top competitive decks. Is as soon as they get going, they're very secure. As long as you get out of the early game.
Diagram destroys Pot of Desires since he doesn't want to banish another 10 cards.
Yeah, I imagine actually at this point he'd be running extremely low on cards if he did that.
He definitely is. He uses Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. Gets to use it to send 3 cards back and draw 1. Forner's field is completely empty.
And he's got a skill drain to contend with.
Yeah, this won't be easy for him. Barberi discards True Draco Apocalypse in his end phase due to the effect of Card of Demise.
Yeah, Michael looks pretty jammed there. And after committing the Cosmic Cyclone to the True King's Return as well, he implied he was actually more comfortable with this skill drain than maybe he is. Let's quickly scout the graveyard. And he's going to go push out with Invocation. Yeah, with the skill drain face up though, that Invocation, I'm just trying to think of what he could be.
Whatever he takes will have no effect, so there's really not much he can do. What's his strongest?
I'm just trying to remember which of the invokes are. He goes for a Purgatrio, but Purgatrio won't gain any attack points.
No, he doesn't run the Earth one. It looks like.
Yeah,
that would have been the strongest.
Yeah, that one's pretty gigantic.
Purgatrio has 2,300 attack points. I think he still has an Alistair in hand, right?
Yeah, if he played the Invocation, he's probably picked the Alistair back up.
Nevertheless, he is not in good shape.
No, he made the commitment with his Cosmic Cyclone, and to be fair, he was taking out a True King Return, which would have put him in the tar pit situation we saw him in yesterday, just constantly trying to deal with these recurring True Draco monsters. But by leaving the skill drain, he's kind of prevented himself from actually advancing his field very easily. Imperial Order coming up from Michael. And
Cosmic Cyclone, chained by Barberi. He gives up 1,000 life points to banish Imperial Order from the duel.
So Marcello is going to be free to use his spell cards this turn. Let's see where he goes from here.
He probably use the Imperial Order on the activation of the Diagrams effect.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, he was using Diagrams to destroy.
So he destroys the Crew Draco Heritage, and now gets a monster from his deck. Well, any Crew Draco or Crew King card from his deck. We're likely to see a monster here.
Yeah, Michael's life points are starting to get quite low. I should say over half isn't low, but in this particular format, in this day and age, it is pretty low.
This Disciples of the Crew Draco Phoenix actually is activated, so he gets to draw one card.
Yeah, Marcello is extremely comfortable right here. Effect tribute to his trap. Yep, and then he's got 5,000.
Yes, Dynamite Tribute Summon by tributing Crew King's Return. Crew King's Return activates, destroying Purgatrio, and then 2 direct attacks from Dynamite, the Crew Draco fighter, ends the duel by dealing 5,000 points of damage.
Yep, that's pretty rough for Michael. Especially after his beginning, he just had Marcello was very, very slow and was absolutely desperately trying to dig into his deck to get going. Michael Forner, on the other hand, he wasn't able to take advantage of that, and the game went on a little bit too long, and then he was forced to commit his Cosmic Cyclone to either Crew King Return or Skill Drain. He chose the Return, and it just didn't pay out for him because it then prevented him from doing anything else for the rest of the game.
Yeah, starting with Wind Witch Snowbell in your opening hand is also never really good. And not starting with Wind Witch Ice Bell is even worse. So Forner definitely did not have the ideal hand, especially in this matchup where Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, protected by the lingering effects of the Wind Witch monsters, is so powerful.
Yeah, it would have. It could have potentially been enough to allow Michael to win, especially during the slow start, because the Crystal Wing also just hits you for 3,000 damage. It's so huge. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. Michael's going to have to rethink this, because now Marcello gets a chance to get into his side deck in order to prepare for any potential start. So it should be pretty interesting. But Michael is playing 3 copies of Master Restrict to stop the True Draco deck from getting off the ground. So that could be a problem for Marcello, giving him more things that he has to spread his spell and trap removal over.
Well, he also main decked Zombie World, along with 3 copies of Set Rotation to get it. Zombie World is basically the same thing as Mask of Restrict.
Yeah, so that's like the 4th copy in this case.
It's like the 7th copy, if you count the Set Rotations, the search for it.
And the terraformings.
Oh, that's true too. It's like he has 9 copies, if you count the 2 terraformings.
That's a lot of Zombie World. Yeah, Marcello actually winning an unfavorable matchup for game 1, so he must be feeling pretty great now. When you play something like this, is a little bit out of the left field. You really, really want to be winning these game 1s. And the players will just get prepared to play the next round.
I think it actually will get easier for Forner, though, in the second duel, now that he can put in all those Mask of Restricts.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well as Zaphion the Time Lord, which is very powerful against Crew Draco. He has 3 copies of that.
Yeah, he really has committed hard onto the Zaphion, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Being able to sweep away all of your opponent's spells and traps. Very, very powerful, especially for a deck that needs to commit them because of Card of Demise.
Exactly. It's interesting because Michael Forner probably came prepared to play against Crew Draco. I'm not sure Marcello Barberi came prepared to play against straight Wind Witch.
I know he would have practiced this that matchup for the WCQs. I'm not sure how much of his time he would have probably tested the Invoke deck because of its success throughout the WCQ season, just to see what it was worth. And he's obviously come to the conclusion that the True Draco Demise build was the best deck for this tournament. So he knows the fundamentals of the Invoke deck. I won't put that past him. And
the duelists are shuffling up in what could be their final duel of the tournament.
Final duel of the season. Although, to be fair, this season does start again next weekend, but for the 2017-2018 season. sorry. Okay, sorry guys, I just got some news. They agreed to randomly side deck 15 cards for this match, and the judges actually approved it. So they don't know what they've side decked in. They're not actually taking this match seriously. Huh? Kind of would have expected, you know, they really won the third place, but they're just having fun. Like, as I said, these guys are on the same plane home, so I guess that's just a case of they have no idea what's going on. But now Michael will get to search through his deck and then see all the cards. And you see, look at his face. Look at his face there when he just went for his deck. Oh, wow. I guess if they've completely randomly side decked, he has no idea what he's taken out.
I'm speechless.
For World Championship. And he's just like, want to randomly side deck? Sure. Huh. I kind of feel like I was too invested in this match now.
All right. In any case, Forner summons Alistair. He activates its effect, but loses out to Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
And Michael going to set 2 cards and pass it back to Marcello. I think I saw Card of Demise, Imperial Order in Marcello's hand, and Pot of Desire is going to add 2 additional cards, assuming Michael doesn't have the Ash Blossom.
And he does.
Every time. Every time.
This is Marcello Barberi's fate in every duel.
I mean, see the little Ash Blossom running off with every Pot of Desires that someone has.
Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is a very popular card in this tournament, but I'm a little surprised by how much I'm seeing it hit Pot of Desires.
Very specifically. Oh, Michael does have his Mask of Restricts in his deck, and there's the Card of Demise come down for Marcello.
Forner can only activate 1 Ash Blossom per turn, so Barberi knows that this Card of Demise will resolve. He draws 3 cards.
I think he drew 2.
Was it 2?
Yeah. Maybe he drew. Maybe it was 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pot Desires. That'd be 5, but he went second.
You might be right. Either way, in the end phase, he's left with Vanity's Fiend in his hand and is forced to discard it.
Yeah, with the Mask of Restrict in play, he's not going to be making any tribute summons.
No, and that's difficult because one of the ways that this deck destroys spell and trap cards is by tribute summoning the True Dracos, tributing a spell card. But it cannot be done with Mask of Restrict on the field. So some of your cards that actually could destroy trap cards can't destroy Mask of Restrict.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's one of those super awkward things where you, depending on your spell and trap removal, to be part of your natural mechanics, but when you can't access them, it leaves you in this kind of awkward position where, because you probably have gone really light on your other spell and trap removal as a result, because your deck is already doing that just by functioning. So that could be leaving Marcello just sitting there until he draws a Cosmic Cyclone.
Yeah, so Forner summons Alistair, uses this effect to get Invocation, and now Invocation hits the field, but Imperial Order will negate it.
Michael quickly grabs his card, Cosmic
Forner
Cyclone.
Chains Cosmic Cyclone, pays 1,000 life points to banish Imperial Order. Since it's a continuous trap card, and it now is off the field, the Invocation will resolve successfully.
And Purgatrio, the likely... Oh no, he's going to go for his opponent's graveyard to have a quick check. And
Makaba, it looks like.
Oh, he took out his opponent's Ash Blossom. So he's going to then make some Purgatrio. He's going to gain a few attack points. What was that? 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, an additional 600 attack points, and then he's going to have Piercing.
Gains... Yeah, you're right. It's 200 for each card your opponent controls.
And he's on 2,300 base, right?
It is. 2,300 attack, 2,000 defense points.
Oh, we just got a result from Duel Links, which was the 3rd and 4th playoff. Samson wins that match.
So he is the 3rd place Duel Links competitor.
Yes, congratulations to him. Very well played.
So Barberi flips True King's Return, and True Draco Apocalypse uses the Apocalypse to destroy the return, and uses the return's effect to thereby destroy Perfect Trio.
That's a lot of cards to essentially throw away to get this Perfect Trio out of play.
It really is, but Perfect Trio was pretty important to get rid of.
Absolutely, yeah. Michael still having access to invocations, though, so he's going to be able to just, especially since he has another Ash Blossom in his own graveyard, he can summon another Purgatory on the following turn. Marcello laughing, he probably drew one of those wacky side deck cards that he wasn't expecting to be in his deck. Good sportsmanship, at least, even though the guys can't play for the championship, they're having fun with Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is at the end of the day what it's all about.
It is. Forner summons another Alistair, searches for another invocation, activates it to destroy the Alistair, banish rather, Alistair, along with, looks like a Fire Monster, probably the Purgatory. No,
that's the Ash Blossom.
An Ash Blossom, okay. Summon another Purgatorio. This one will have 2700 attack and still pierces, and if Barberi was afraid of Purgatorio before, there's no reason he wouldn't be now.
Yeah, he committed quite a few resources just to get it out of play, so
yeah.
you know it was definitely on his mind. The set card from Marcello has to be a hand trap, right?
Probably. I can't imagine what else it would be.
Yeah,
it's an Ash Blossom. He probably just said it because...
he had nothing else to do.
Yeah, it was either if he was going to lose it to Card of Demise, or he wanted to draw an extra card with Card of Demise. I don't remember when he said it, but it was definitely one of the two.
Yeah. And of course, with the max restrict in play, he was just going to. It's either just letting direct attacks through or not in this case.
So Purgatorio pierces through it. It does absorb some of the damage, 1,800 points. But then Alistair will attack directly, and Barberi appears to be in dire straits.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Marcello picking up his cards soon, but then he's pulled himself out of worse situations.
He activates Terraforming.
Oh, that's pretty nice. He's gonna be able to get his.
If it's nice if he didn't side out his Dragonic Diagram.
He does have his diagram, which will allow him to. Well, actually, I'm trying to think of what he could do here. If he destroys his Apocalypse, he can take out a monster and search for a True Draco card, but he still can't actually summon any of his.
That's true, but he can destroy the Apocalypse and maybe get Heritage to draw a card and hope for the best. But Twin Twisters is going to come down. He'll probably destroy only...
Oh, he takes them both out.
He takes down the Apocalypse and the Diagram. I'm a little surprised about that.
It's like, are you sure you don't want to destroy my Alistair?
And then the Apocalypse will destroy Purgatorio.
Yeah, but we know Michael's just going to have another Invocation, and he's playing... He's not playing any more copies of Purgatorio.
Barberi ends his turn with a completely clear field. Forner summons another Alistair to grab another Invocation from his deck.
And we're going to see some more magic dance, as these Alistairs get turned into other magical creations.
Invocation is resolving.
And Raijin going to be the fusion monster of choice. Yep, 3,200 points going towards Marcello. Meaning the remaining attack points on Michael Forner's field is going to be enough to close out the duel if Marcello doesn't do anything, but he just can't play the game right now because of this Mask of Restrict.
He just ends his turn and waits for Forner to finish him off.
And we're going to game 3.
Third and final duel.
I wonder if they'll take this one more seriously.
I don't know.
I don't think so. Like, why? Like, when if Marcello was serious about winning, he would have never have agreed to that. So we'll have to wait and see how they how these guys decide to. He's going for his deck, and look, this is the face of someone surprised. That's one of the craziest things I've seen. Well, definitely this weekend. So what are your thoughts on the final match then? Can we make any kind of predictions if they're going to just side deck randomly?
The final duel of this match?
Yeah, this one.
I don't know. All bets are off.
Yeah. I guess we just kind of have to wait and see what comes up. Based on their side decking, we have no way of knowing if they're going to take it, if they're going to be serious or not. We'll talk a little bit about Samsung. Congratulations to him making third place on Duel Links.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I'm just trying to remember who his opponent would have been in that bracket. It would have been the player from Indonesia, but I have forgotten his name. Silent something. It's on one of these things somewhere. Oh, it's right here. Yeah, Silent Loft. Yeah, went over Silent Loft.
All right. Even though I don't know what they did with their side decks in that duel, I will say that Mask of Restrict actually proved to be a pretty critical card, and that was a side deck card.
Yep, it was in there. Mask of Restrict, that's primarily its entire function is to stop the True Draco player from actually getting into the game, and Marcello was, again, desperately just trying to find a way to play any of his cards and making really unfavorable trades of his cards. And yeah, he was in, to be fair, he was in a position where he had to throw away cards to prevent himself just getting obliterated anyway.
Right.
So it's like, either I lose or I make really bad exchanges. And he's like, well, I'm going to make the bad exchanges and try and make the best of this awful situation. But in the end, it wasn't actually enough. He just gets run over anyway, because then eventually he runs out of things to do. And that's all she wrote. Going into the final match, Marcello gets to choose to go first. I imagine he's going to take the first turn, because he doesn't want his opponent to open with the Crystal Wing.
And he also doesn't want his opponent to open with Mask of Restrict before he can tribute summon a monster.
Yep.
So it's definitely to his advantage to choose to go first.
It's very much in his interest to to go first.
But will he do what's in his interest?
Again, at this point, we have no idea. We'll just have to wait and see.
One would assume.
I'll tell you one thing, a match I am super looking forward to seeing will be Raphael versus Ryan Yu in the Dragon Duel final a little bit later. Raphael, apparently, he was talking to his translator, and his translator asked him, oh, in the final, which would you be more worried about playing against, the mirror match, which is a True Draco mirror match, or Chain Burn? And he said, I'm not worried about Burn at all.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like,
that's pretty confident.
I think actually, I'm not sure, I'd have to check this, but I think Raphael actually beat Ryan in the Swiss.
But so he's going for a repeat.
I very rarely hear people say, yeah, I'm hoping for a burn match. Yeah. I'm totally ready for this.
I am not worried at all. Pretty strong words. All right, third and final duel is underway, and Marcello Barberi uses terraforming to search for a Dragonic Diagram.
I also saw in Marcello's hand Time Lord Zaphion. Interesting. Yeah, probably makes sense. We'll see how Marcello chooses to set up.
Zaphion can get rid of Mask of Restrict, right?
I wasn't sure off the top of my head if it was just set cards or if it's all spells and traps. All spells and traps, yeah. So yeah, there's it can clear out the Mask of Restrict.
Yes, it's at the end of the battle phase of this card battle. Shuffle all spells and traps your opponent controls into the deck.
Yeah, that's additional spell and trap removal that he doesn't need to tribute summon for. It's very strong card for him in this match. Then, well, post side deck match.
Oh, and there it is. Normal summons Zaphion. Can be summoned without tribute as long as you control no monsters. He sets 2 cards and then uses Card of Demise.
And as long as he didn't draw any monsters, but he could have drew a combination with one of the spells that gives him an extra normal tribute.
That's true. So he picked up 3 cards. One of them was part of Duality, which he is going to use. I'm sure as much as he would love that Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring,
not good here.
He cannot take it because if he does, he will discard it in the end phase due to the effective Card of Demise.
He goes for True King's Return, so that probably means that definitely confirms in his hand he has some True Draco monsters. So
well, not necessarily, because he's going to discard his hand in the end phase.
Yeah, but if he sets a True King's Return, he can then get those monsters out of the graveyard.
Well, that's true.
Otherwise, the Card of Demise would have been super tempting for the additional resources on the following turn. Oh, and Pot of Desires. Wow. Okay, he had all the draw cards this game.
It's not getting hit by an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring for once. He actually gets to draw 2 cards this time.
Actually resolves Pot of Desires. Wow. Michael just forced to sit back and watch. And we're going to see Vanity Fiend discarded.
That's in the end phase due to the effect of Card of Demise.
I would guess so, but after destroying the 2 cards from Pot of Desires as well, I would have thought he would have definitely had some more spells or traps to set.
What did he just...
How did he discard the...
Oh, he's destroying it from his hand with the diagram to search his deck.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this is not the end phase, yeah. No, he didn't point to the card, so it was unclear he was activating the effect, but he obviously communicated it to Forner, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, we actually don't have live voice feed to the table, so we've got a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Miming going on that we're trying to interpret for you guys.
So Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix for Marcello Barberi. And he activates it.
Yeah, which means he could be considering using his extra normal summon. Does he choose to... Yep, he goes for the 2 tributes, Masterpiece, Spell, and Monster Effect Immunity, and he gets to draw a card for the Zaphion.
It's pretty... Zaphion's really strong.
Yeah.
He didn't even get to use its effect, and he managed to draw a card with it.
It's
because they sent to the graveyard effect.
Yeah, it's been one of the breakout cards for this weekend from the side deck.
For sure.
We never saw any Time Lords, and then for example, I saw in Joshua Smith, admittedly his record wasn't amazing this weekend. He had quite a few Time Lords, not even just Zaphion in there.
Camion was seeing some play also.
Yes.
And of course Time Maiden. So True Draco Heritage gets activated. He uses an extra normal summon to tribute summon Dynamite by getting rid of Crew King's Return. Then since he tributed a spell and a trap card this turn, he gets to use the Heritage to draw 2. And then he sets everything and has nothing to discard with Card of Demise. So this was actually an amazing opening for Marcello Barberi.
Yeah, he just has all the draw cards and just gets himself an almost perfect setup there. Not sure what Michael's going to be doing to get out of it because Masterpiece... Oh, it's okay, set rotation.
Set rotation, alright. I mean, Masterpiece has already used and accomplished what he needed it to do.
Yeah, he's already managed to deploy it and get his setup.
Zombie World can stop tribute summons, but again, you know, the tribute summon monsters are already on the field.
Yeah, and Masterpiece can just clear it anyway.
That too.
But Michael might have a plan here. Yeah, he's more interested in getting his own Magical Meltdown. And he gives Marcello Closed Forest. Alright, so that's going to let him go get his Alistair and then followed up with Invocation. And his opponent does have a Dark Monster in his graveyard.
A little over 2 minutes left in the round.
And we just heard that there's just a little over 2 minutes on this round left, and we can see the timer on the screen there for you guys.
Not much going on for Forner.
Yeah, this is a really awkward situation to be in.
He'll summon the Alistair. Grabs an Invocation from his deck with its effect. Doesn't have an answer to Masterpiece though, from those cards alone at least.
No, even if he fusion summons, he doesn't really have an answer for. He doesn't have an answer for the Masterpiece because it will just clear away anything that threatens it. It's one of the reasons the card is so obnoxious.
Yes.
Okay, Wonder One.
Wonder One's good, but Barberi could use Masterpiece to just destroy the Alistair in order to avoid Forner drawing 2 cards. Alistair in the grave is basically the same as Alistair on the field, since it would be banished either way by Invocation, but it might be worth it just to get rid of the Wonder Wand.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the Wonder Wand doesn't the Wonder Wand and the Alistair doesn't threaten you in any way.
That is true. And Barberi appears to agree as he's letting Forner draw the 2 cards, reserving his Masterpiece's effect to destroy something more relevant.
Yeah, well, because of the... we don't know what his other face down cards are. I imagine he's... the only thing he's going to take out is something that's guaranteed to threaten his Masterpiece.
Yes.
And he can just sit back and wait.
Yeah. The only thing he would have to worry about is Forner drawing something like a Kaiju that gets rid of the Masterpiece before he has the chance to activate its effect.
Oh, interesting. He's going to summon Invoked Kokaitis. Who cannot be destroyed by card effects. I can't remember the defense. It's
I think it's 2,900. I'm gonna look it
yeah,
up.
it was north of. I knew it was north of 28.
Yeah, it's 1,800 attack, 2,900 defense points.
Ah, so it's still 50 defense points weaker than the Masterpiece.
Right, so it really doesn't do much for him.
That is time in the round. Once again, it is time in the round.
Okay,
Please
and
go into your 3 turn end of match procedure. If you have questions, please ask your judge.
Okay, and they're going to end of match procedure. And this heavily favors Marcello since he's already managed to set up on his first turn, so he'll get the battle phases he needs to make the most of this.
Yes, then the Kokaitis really doesn't do anything.
No.
Just absorb an attack, it looks like.
He just kind of sits there and looks scary.
Yeah. Forner's definitely going to set more than one card, otherwise it'll just get picked off by Masterpiece, and he'll be left with nothing on Barberi's turn.
Yeah, and then Barberi will just steamroll him.
And it looks like that might happen anyway. He does set the 2. Oh, Barberi does not. I think Barberi has some continuous cards in the graveyard, but I guess he's saving them.
Yeah, there's at least one in there.
Yeah, there might only be one, actually.
That would explain why he didn't go in the end phase. Oh, there's Mask Restrict.
But he tribute summoned 2 monsters.
He tributed... Oh, yeah, so
He should have at least 2.
Yeah, because he summoned Masterpiece and
Dynamite on his field.
Dynamite.
Well, Mask of Restrict is flipped. It's a little late, unfortunately.
It would have been great if Michael was going first this game, but that's not the case.
Set rotation would have been way better going first as well. So this definitely hurt him.
Yeah, almost everything about Michael's hand would have been great if the turn order was reversed. Mask Restrict being taken out. Marcello probably looking for a True Draco. Oh no, he's going to go.
Oh, the Monarch Storm 4th. Since the Monarch Storm 4th does not target, he can tribute the Invoked Kokaitis to summon Dynamite Knight. And he now has 7,950 damage on the table.
50 short of what he actually needs. He's trying to see if the Closed Forest will give any attack points to his monsters.
I don't think it does.
It's only beasts, right?
I think so. Or it might increase all of them, but it's based on the beasts in the graveyard. Let me see. We'll get that for you. All beast type monsters you control gain 100 attack points for each monster in your graveyard. So
okay. Michael Forner going down to 50 life points. He's going to need the skill of the Pharaoh if he's going to get out of this one.
he will.
Because I actually have no idea how he does it if he's got the answer.
This is as desperate a situation as one could be in. 50 life points to the full 8,000.
Staring down an incredible
8
boss
cards
monster.
against none.
Right, so you want to start with Cards of Sanctity. Draw 6 cards and then consider if you've got a chance.
Yeah, maybe Card of Demise, but unfortunately that's only in Barberi's deck.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to see a normal summon Invocation.
There it is. He'll use Wonder Wand.
Wonder Wand for more cards.
That's pretty good. It's pretty outmaxed right now. True King's Return activates.
And
True Draco Apocalypse. He might destroy the True King's Return to destroy the Alistair, which would take the Wonder Wand down with it. depriving Forner of the 2 cards he wants to draw.
While also giving Masterpiece more ammunition to work with.
Yes, and preserving Masterpiece's effect to still use during the opponent's turn. Alright, he'll destroy the True Greco Heritage with the True Greco Apocalypse. Essentially the same idea. He just destroys the 1/1 itself instead of the Alistair.
Yeah, well, the Alistair is just now a liability in attack mode.
That's true.
As well. But we know Michael has the invocation, so he's going to be forced to play it. And he can get Purgatrio, so I guess he has to take out Apocalypse if he wants to go down this line, and one of the face-down cards, I guess.
Why Apocalypse?
Because if he doesn't, the Purgatrio, if it tries to make any attacks, will just get shrunk.
It was used already this turn.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Yeah.
So he'll Twin Twisters the 2 face-down cards.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, sorry.
So that he sees everything. Now this is kind of cool. He might turn this around with Purgatrio.
I don't know. The Masterpiece hasn't been used this turn, though, has it?
Oh, you're right. It hasn't. No, he's just going to get decimated by Masterpiece.
As does whatever a Masterpiece does.
Yeah, so Magical Meltdown goes down with one of the fallen spell cards on Barberi's field. Purgatrio's up next.
Michael Forner's defiant last stand.
Yeah, worth a shot.
Giant screeching ghouls. Unfortunately, not going to be enough to get him there.
It does threaten all of Barberi's monsters, but Masterpiece is the proud protector.
He just holds up his shield and the light burns away.
That's it.
Yeah.
Purgatrio's destroyed. Cosmic Cyclone certainly won't help with 50 life points left. And that's the match.
Third place, Marcello Barberi from Italy, taking one of the highest slots in the World Championships for this year. Wow, for an incredibly tough field as well.
A strong performance from Michael Forner as well, who took 4th place for Italy.
Yeah, very good year for Italy in the main event. Those were the last 2 European players, so we're out as well now, like you guys were as well. Yeah, both these guys should be really proud. They played very, very well this weekend, and congratulations to them. I imagine at this point you just kind of feel relieved that it's kind of like the stress is over. I know, like, sort of when you...
it's always disappointing to lose, but at the same time, competing in the World Championship is surprisingly stressful.
Yeah, I mean, was that something for you when you got to the end of day 1 to come back to play for day 2 and you were like feeling stressed the next day and you spend the whole night worrying about it?
Well, I got 10th place, so I didn't make it to day 2,
oh,
unfortunately.
Man, sorry. I should have asked before we went on air and I asked you that question.
Yeah,
sorry.
I had a 3-2 record and got 10th place. But I had an awesome time in Japan regardless. When I competed in the World Championship, it was actually in 2009 in Tokyo. I stayed at the same hotel I was at this weekend, so it was a crazy experience for me this weekend, reminiscing about my time as a competitor here. And it's such an experience to actually be invited to compete in this tournament. I remember it was now 8 years ago. I remember it was like it was yesterday.
Wow, time flies.
So I suspect all of the competitors in this weekend's tournament is having an experience they will never forget, and that is the true prize of the World Championship qualifier.
Yeah, this is just we've got such an exclusive stage for this tournament that from all the players, so few of them will ever even set foot on this stage, let alone more than once. So you've kind of got to take it in. But saying that, we did have repeat appearances from at least 2 of the competitors that I'm aware of.
It does happen when strong duelists remain dedicated to the game. They repeat success.
Yeah, just keep at it, guys, I guess, and you can get on the stage. I've actually never played the World Championship myself. Had a pretty good run at regionals a long time ago. But yeah, time flies. Actually, one of the funniest things we used to have is the intro videos you might remember from previous World Championships. One of the things you could see is they showed all the they used to show all the locations that we'd previously done it, but the problem was that video was getting exceptionally long at this point. But you could just see all of my colleagues and all of us sort of you can see as we've joined the company when we're young, and you can just slowly see us getting older through this little montage of videos.
Yeah, I was 19 when I first competed.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
This is just it's just incredible that we've had this tradition going on for so long, and it still has the same magic to these players.
It does, and it's just the culmination of an entire year of tournaments.
Yeah, it's a great way to send it off and say, hey, this is the end of the season, guys. We're going to bring you to a location. We're going to throw down with the best guys. And it's not even just the stuff you see on screen that's super cool for the players. It's all the way they get to hang out, the tours and stuff.
Yes.
A lot of people, they try to avoid playing games like against each other because they don't really want to reveal how good they are or what their decks are. So they actually spend a lot more time talking about other stuff.
Hanging out. It's actually it's very, even though it's so competitive, it's very friendly between players.
Yes. Well, that brings us to the end of this round. We're going to be back very soon, and I believe we're either going to have the Duel Links final or the Dragon Duel final next. So please stay with us. We hope you're enjoying the show, and we'll see you soon.